Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects millions and millions of people, but honestly, there's still a lot of confusion out there about it. So let's get a really clear picture of what diabetes is, how it works, and what it all means for our health. I bet you've heard someone say this, right? Maybe a family member or a friend. It's such a common phrase, but what does it actually mean? Well, it points to a much bigger story happening inside the body. Let's start right there. So to really get this, let's follow a story. This is Raj, and lately he's just been feeling totally wiped out. You know, that deep kind of tired that a good night's sleep just doesn't seem to touch. He just chalks it up to stress from work. We've all been there. But it doesn't stop there. He also notices he's constantly thirsty, like a thirst he just can't seem to quench. And of course, what comes with drinking all that water? Yep, waking up again and again during the night to use the bathroom. And here's the weird part, the final clue for Raj, though it seems completely unrelated. He got a little paper cut last week, and it's still there, still bothering him. It's just not healing right. So, being exhausted, super thirsty, and slow healing, what in the world connects all these things? And that is the big question, isn't it? Just like Raj, so many people experience these classic symptoms that are really easy to just brush off one by one. But when you put them all together, they paint a very clear picture. So what's really going on under the hood? To answer that, we've got to look at how our bodies are supposed to create and use energy. It's a fantastic system that, in this case, seems to have a pretty serious glitch. Okay, so at its most basic level, here's what diabetes is. Your body's main fuel is glucose, which is just sugar from the food you eat. But with diabetes, that fuel can't get to where it needs to go. Instead of powering your cells, it gets stuck, piling up in your bloodstream. That's what high sugar means. All right, so how is this whole energy thing supposed to work? It's actually pretty cool. When you eat, your pancreas releases a hormone called insulin. Now, think of insulin as a key. It floats over to your body's cells, finds the lock, and turns it, opening the door so all that glucose fuel can get inside. That's what gives you energy. In diabetes, something is wrong with that key. Either the key is missing entirely, or the lock on the cell door has changed and the key just doesn't fit anymore. Okay, but here's the thing. This broken key system can break down in a couple of different ways. And that's why it's so important to know that diabetes isn't just one single thing. So let's break this down. First, you have type 1. This is where the body's own immune system basically attacks the pancreas so it can't make insulin. The key is just gone. Then there's type 2, which is by far the most common. Here, the body either doesn't make enough insulin or the cells just start ignoring it. The key is there, but the lock is getting rusty and won't turn. And finally, there's gestational diabetes, which is a temporary type that some women develop during pregnancy. And this brings us right back to Raj, doesn't it? Now that we get the mechanics, we can see his symptoms were actually major clues from his body. So let's look at those clues a little closer and talk about who might be more at risk. So here are those symptoms again. That crazy thirst and all those bathroom trips, well, that's your body desperately trying to flush out all that extra sugar. And the fatigue, that's because your cells are literally starving for fuel. Things like blurred vision or tingling in your feet can also happen because that high sugar starts to affect tiny nerves and blood vessels. The tricky thing is, they often creep up on you so slowly, you barely notice. So what makes someone more likely to get type 2 diabetes? Well, your genes play a big part. If it runs in your family, your risk is definitely higher. But, and this is a big but, lifestyle factors are also hugely important. Things like your weight, how active you are, your blood pressure, all of it matters. It's a mix of things you can't change and some that you absolutely can. Okay, this next part it's absolutely crucial. Why is it such a big deal to catch this and get it under control? Because here's the deal, over time, high blood sugar isn't just sitting there, it's actively causing damage throughout your body. Over time, it can seriously damage the super delicate blood vessels in your eyes, leading to major vision problems. It puts an incredible strain on your kidneys, which have to work overtime to filter all that sugar out of your blood. It can also damage your heart and blood vessels, which is why it dramatically increases the risk for heart attacks and strokes. And finally, it can damage your nerves, often starting with numbness or pain in your feet. This is why a simple cut can become a huge problem. You might not even feel that it's there. All right, I know hearing all that can sound pretty scary. It's a lot. But here is the most important thing I want you to hear today. Diabetes is manageable. So let's stop talking about the problems and start talking about the path forward. Think of managing it less like a single cure and more like a toolkit. It almost always starts with lifestyle, healthy eating, getting regular exercise. For a lot of people, it also includes medicines that help your body use its own insulin better. And for some, especially anyone with type 1, it means taking insulin directly. And of course, checking your blood sugar is how you know if the whole plan is actually working. And you can break that down even further into these really powerful daily habits. And just look at this list: getting enough sleep, managing stress, moving your body. These are things that are good for everybody, not just people with diabetes. It's all about building a solid foundation for your overall health. I really want to let this next part sink in because it's so important. There can be a lot of shame or blame that gets attached to this condition, and that is just not helpful. This is not about a personal failure. It is a health condition, plain and simple. And it's one that responds incredibly well to consistent, thoughtful care. And really, that's the bottom line here. Every small choice you make today, whether it's taking a walk on your lunch break or adding some extra veggies to your dinner, is a direct investment in protecting your future. It's how you protect your eyes, your heart, and your whole body for years and years to come. You know, knowledge is probably one of the most powerful tools we have when it comes to our health. So just think about it for a second. If this explainer helped clear some things up for you, who do you know that might need to hear it too? Sharing this could really, truly make a difference for someone you care about.